I'm making two picture frames out of sapele, and the pictures themselves are going to be laminated between two sheets of acrylic and raised up and supported by dowels. So I'm measuring the pieces to be 3 inches larger than the size of the picture. That's to allow for 1.5 inch overhang all around the outside of it. I've got 45-degree mitered corners, and I'm using a biscuit joiner to securely fasten the corners together. And now I'm just doing a test fit to make sure that everything fits properly. And after testing all the joints, I'm ready to glue it up. And I'll use some corner squares along with the clamps just to help to make sure that everything is square. And I'll clamp it up in both directions. I clamped it up lightly, and then when I have all the clamps in both directions, then I'll tighten it up a little bit more. And now just a light sanding. I'm using 120 grit and then finished with 220. And now just a little bit of light hand sanding so that the edges are not really sharp. And then I'm applying a coat of tung oil finish, just one coat on this. And now I'm carefully measuring the positions of the dowels. They're going to be centered across the width of the board, so 3/4 of an inch in. And I've got one in each corner and one in the middle of each piece. Now on the back side of the frame, I'm drilling in a little bit of a recess to hold the nut. So there's going to be screws that go through the acrylic sheets, through the frame, and then into the back where a nut is attached. And now I'm drilling through with a small drill bit just so that I can find the center on the other side. Now I've flipped the frame over, I'm on the front side, and I'm drilling in the recesses and using a 3/8 inch bit to drill all the way through for the screw. Now I'm cutting the dowels. These are roughly 2 inches long. I'm using a bandsaw just because I have to cut so many of these. I'm making 2 frames. Each frame has 8 pieces, so a total of 16 2-inch dowels. And these are 5/8 inch in diameter. And now what I want to do is drill a 3/8 inch hole down the center of each of the dowels. I've taped the bottom because in my experience, when you get to the bottom, when you're drilling through it, it'll split open. So the tape helps to hold it securely. And I've hand turned the drill bit just a little bit to help mark the center and to keep the drill bit from drifting once it starts. It's pretty easy to cut the acrylic sheets on a table saw. You just need to wear proper eye protection because little fragments of the acrylic will fly up into the air. I'm cutting this to be exactly the same dimension as the picture frame. And I'm using a crosscut sled to cut it in the other direction. Now I've got the acrylic sheets taped into place so that they don't move around while I'm drilling the holes. You need to do this carefully so that you don't melt the acrylic, and also so you don't apply too much pressure and cause it to crack. Now it's ready for a test fit, inserting all of the dowels. And I'm inserting the screws just to make sure everything lines up. And then I'll have to remove the screws, put the print in place, and then put the other top sheet of acrylic in place. I put a small amount of adhesive spray on the back of the print so that it won't slide out once the frame is mounted vertically on the wall. And then I'm putting the top sheet of the acrylic on and screwing it in place. The only thing remaining to be done is to create some caps for the screw heads. So I'm cutting dowel pieces that are about 1/2 inch thick, or 1/2 inch long. Now the dowels are 5/8 inch in diameter, so I'm using a 1/2 inch Forstner bit to drill recesses to fit the screw heads inside. Now I'm just smoothing out the tops and bottoms of the caps, and then I will round over the top edge, just using the sander to do that. And it's pretty easy with a glue gun to attach the caps. Just put a little bit of glue into the top, and then it will fasten to the screw head. So I gotta ask, would you make it?